In the annals of true crime and European folklore, few names inspire as much eerie fascination as Béla Kiss, dubbed the Vampire of Cinkota. Kiss's crime shocked early 20th century Hungary and continued to perplex historians, criminologists, and the macabre curious to this day. His case has been an enduring mystery, a chilling combination of cunning, coldness, and complete disappearance. In this episode, we are exploring the full story from Béla Kiss's early life to grisly discoveries at his home, the context of Austro-Hungarian society, and the timed investigation that stunned a continent, and multiple theories surrounding his fate. My name is Creeps. Welcome to the Graveyard Shift. Now, Béla Kiss was born in 1877 in the Kingdom of Hungary, part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire. Little is known about his early childhood, but records indicate he was of average intelligence, kept largely to himself, and had an early interest in astrology and the occult. By 1900, he had settled in Cinkota, a small town northeast of Budapest, and was employed as a tinsmith, an ordinary trade for a man who lived an outwardly unremarkable life. He was described by neighbors as quiet, polite, and intelligent. He read voraciously and had a mild obsession with books on poisons and strangulation. It's important to note that at this time occultism and interest in spiritualism were not unusual. Europe, especially in the wake of the Victorian fascination with death and the supernatural, was rife in seances, mysticism, and alternative belief system. Kiss's house was relatively isolated, surrounded by a thicket of trees and with a large cellar. He employed a housekeeper named Mrs. Jakubek, who lived with him and managed most of the household affairs. According to her, Kiss often had female visitors, and many of them were supposedly distant relatives or love interests. To understand how Béla Kiss was able to evade detection for so long, it's crucial to grasp the socio-political environment of early 20th century Hungary. Hungary at the time was part of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, a multi-ethnic realm ruled under a dual monarchy. The country was undergoing rapid modernization in urban centers, but rural areas like Cinkota remained insular and conservative. Record-keeping was inconsistent, and police resources were heavily centralized in cities like Budapest or bigger cities. Additionally, gender norms of the time made women, especially single women, vulnerable. Kiss exploited these vulnerabilities to devastating effect. Now, Béla Kiss was conspired into the Austro-Hungarian army at the outbreak of World War I in 1914. He left his house under the care of Mrs. Jakubek. For 2 years, the home sat largely untouched, but Jakubek noted that soldiers occasionally brought barrels into the yard. In July 1916, due to housing shortages for military officers, police entered Kiss's property to requisition it. Inside, they discovered an overwhelming stench and several large sealed metal drums in the garden. When they opened them, the horror was unleashed. The drums contained the pickled corpses of women, some reports say as many as 24. Each woman had been strangled, preserved in alcohol, and hidden meticulously. All the bodies bore puncture wounds on the neck. One man's body was also discovered believed to be a rival or suspicious suitor. Each of the victims had responded to Lonely Hearts ads that Kiss placed in Budapest newspapers. He used aliases, promising marriage to women who were often middle-aged and without family. Once he earned their trust and often their money, he killed them. Authorities quickly pieced together that Kiss had led a double life. Letters, photos, and love notes were found at the scene, suggesting a wide network of correspondence. He maintained over 70 pen pal relationships with women seeking companionship. Warrants were issued for his arrest, but Béla Kiss had vanished. Military records showed he had served with distinction but disappeared from a field hospital in Serbia. Rumors circulated that he had faked his own death and assumed another identity. Authorities began a Europe-wide manhunt. One theory suggests he escaped to Romania or even America, where sightings continued for decades. In 1932, a man named Hoffman, one of Kiss's known aliases, was reportedly working as a janitor in New York, but he vanished before he could be apprehended. Béla Kiss became an almost mythological figure. Reports of sightings emerged from years after the initial discovery. In 1932, it was in New York, where an Interpol agent reportedly spotted a man matching Kiss's description working at a hotel under the name Hoffman. In between 1920s and 1930s, it was in France, where similar reports emerged, though none were sustained. And in Europe during the World War II era, some believed Kiss may have joined a German army or SS using a false identity. Now, none of these leads were ever confirmed. Modern psychologists and criminologists have examined the Béla Kiss case as a prototype for serial killers in the 20th century. Unlike earlier cases of mass murder, Kiss's method showed a chilling level of planning, such as victim selection, where he was targeting socially isolated women. His method, non-lethal strangulation, which is often associated with control and dominance. Preservation, the use of alcohol to preserve the bodies, suggests a desire to keep his victims, and a double life. Public politeness masking private pathology, echoes of Ted Bundy and Dennis Rader. Béla Kiss has inspired numerous fictionalized accounts. Hungarian horror literature has drawn parallels between Kiss and vampire myths, especially given his nickname. TV shows like Criminal Minds and Dark Tourist have referred the case as well, and his case is often cited in criminology as a case study in early serial killings. In Hungary, the name Béla Kiss evokes a sense of mystery and dread, especially among older generations. Many myths around the Kiss case has been the vampire rumors, where these likely stem from the puncture mark on the victim's neck, though there's no evidence Kiss drank blood. However, there was reports where all the bodies were drained of it. Also, they were thinking about occult ties. Though he was interested in astrology, there's little evidence he was involved in any cult ritualistic practices. Also, the body count. Some estimates go as high as 40 plus victims, but only 24 were confirmed. Now, in conclusion, the story of Béla Kiss is not just a true crime tale. It's a portrait of early 20th century Europe, of gendered violence, change in society, and the frightening ability for someone to disappear. Despite over a century passing, Béla Kiss's fate remains a mystery. Did he die during World War I, a nameless body buried in foreign soil? Or did he live on under a false name, reading newspapers about his own crimes? Perhaps the true horror of this story lies in never knowing. I hope you enjoyed today's episode of The Graveyard Shift, and if you did, keep browsing. You might find something that will chill you to the bone. My name is Creeps, and thank you for listening.